Well, hello everyone. We are now moving on into chapter 4 of Woe Begone, and this one is going to be titled Transportation. And what we're going to do is look at alternative ways to transport whatever it may be. And in this particular instance, I'm going to speak mainly about the transportation of our own personal usage. In other words, our vehicles that we use to drive around. One of the best ways that I can see to push the oil termination date further down the road is going to be to use natural gas. So I guess, basically saying that we should convert all of our gas burning cars over to natural gas. Most states of the Union already have, natural gas pipelines within their state, and it shouldn't be that difficult to convert that over. I'm not saying we got to do the entire state. Maybe just concentrate on the big cities. Cities with 100,000 people or more in them. Run your pipelines to them and have cars that they drive convert over to natural gas. Most cars don't see highway traffic, and even if they did, you could still build natural gas stations, if you will, along the interstates, just so that they do or can use those vehicles for long distance travel. If we do go to natural gas vehicles, really regardless of whether we go all natural, whether we do both gas and natural gas vehicles, I think one of the things we should be thinking about doing is building these cars lighter. I don't know whether that means changing the way the shell is done. Maybe do like what they do in auto racing and build the car around the roll cage, if you will, like a dune buggy, and put sides on it. You can still put seats, that are nice, carpeting that's nice, and interior panels and all that kind of stuff. But we should try to find a way to make our cars lighter. Now, the engines that use natural gas may be able to be lighter. I'm not an engineer. Once again, this is just food for thought. And we could take natural gas and even if we burn 14 point whatever trillion cubic feet of natural gas, which is what I think our reserves were, even if we burn through all that and we get 50 years of extended usage for oil, then that's 50 years of oil that we get to use in the future. That takes us from 2200 to like 2250, and if it goes longer, then even better. But the second thing that I was thinking about with this, if you take it in conjunction with the converting over to, say, natural gas vehicles, one of the biggest things that I see would be building an electric rail system. Now, there's a lot of talk on it. There's several websites out there that show designs for rail systems, and you can search those out on the web if you want. I think basically there's one or two ways we can do this. You can do a grid system where you have the government sponsor, if you will, which means just our taxpayer money basically, but you build 3 or 4 horizontal systems, one that connects, say, Seattle to New York, all the way across and down, and then build 5 or 6 vertical systems that would run, from Florida up to Maine, and then, Mississippi up through Wisconsin, But anyway, you just make a grid system. And then what you do you have a mass transit system there, okay? But then the states can then say, okay, now we're going to build out our inner city connections and hook that up to the main rail system. And I think basically if we do a main rail system like a grid, like I'm speaking about, there's only one stop per state so that you don't have these things last, 20 hours to get from Jacksonville, Florida, say to San Diego, California. That should be about a 10-hour drive if you're using like a one of those 300 mile per hour high-speed rail systems. You can't get that speed in there if you're stopping 15, 20 stops. You're going to have to minimize that. And that's what the states would have to connect to. It's up to them to build out their own infrastructure with a rail system, as well as like inner city. I mean, in my opinion, eventually, everything that we do transportation-wise is going to be done by electric rail, because you're not going to have anything to burn. You're not going to have oil, gas, coal even, and you're certainly not going to go back to the old steam engines to drive locomotives, So our transportation needs are going to necessarily change to, I think, an all-electric rail system. The other thing about building an electric rail system is that as time goes forward, the term airport is going to be a thing of the past. You're not going to have planes flying around anymore. You're not going to get on a flight and go from New York to San Diego or Los Angeles or any other place, because we're not going to have the oil to do it. Now, if we can find an alternative fuel for airplanes to use, then maybe so. But as it exists right now, we just don't have that. So I just don't see how that can continue as an ongoing enterprise. When you think about that, eventually, right now, a lot of businesses are using what they call just-in-time inventory. That's going to change. All the old systems that we used to have with storerooms and stocked items in to keep the business running, well, we're going to go back to that. Because you're not going to be able to say, hey, I need this flown from such and such a place to here so I can have it tomorrow. It's not going to happen. You're not going to have that air travel going through the skies. It just is what it is. I mean, unless we can find an alternative fuel for these airplanes, they're not going to fly. They use JP4 fuel, I believe, and that comes from oil. So if we run out of oil, which we will eventually, airplanes are going to go. And as time goes forward, I think it's personally going to be almost prohibitively expensive to get on a damn airplane and take a trip. I mean, we talk about oil becoming scarcer as time goes forward. Well, that's necessarily going to mean the rise in price of oil. I mean, who's going to pay $1,500 for a flight from Los Angeles to New York? I'm certainly not going to do that. There's no way I would even consider that. Maybe a rich guy could, So I think that's going to do exactly what I say, and air travel is going to diminish over time. The other thing about transportation that we're going to have to consider is that we need to begin a maximization process so that if we got something going, then we need to make sure that it's full. So if you got a truck that's leaving out, that truck has to be chock full. Same with locomotives, same with airplanes. It's going to come to a point in time with air travel that, if that plane's not full, it doesn't take off, because we're going to have to start conserving fuel. So, once again, these are just some small considerations when it comes to transportation. I'm a big believer in a national electric rail system. I think it's way overdue for this country. And I think in order to allow us to have a longer changeover process from combustion engines to the electric system that we're eventually going to go to, running natural gas vehicles is going to give us a little more time to work all these things out and to get these things built. So there you have it. These are my thoughts on transportation in a world without oil and how we're going to have to make adaptations in order to get to that world without oil. So you guys have a good day. Thank you.